Hey guys, welcome back to Harry the Horse Barbecue, and today we're making a brisket with all the tricks. Keep it locked.
Harry the Horse Barbecue.
Alright, so a brisket with all the tricks. The restaurants around Austin, Texas area, or even the Texas area in general, they pull out some different little stops, different little tricks to make their brisket the best that they can possibly make it. And these tricks have surfaced around the internet. Chud's Barbecue has done something like this. So has Jerby Barbecue, and now Mad Scientist Barbecue's dabbled into that as well. But we're going to show you how we do it over here. So the first little trick is the salt and pepper aspect. Now, restaurants claim salt and pepper, but is it really salt and pepper? That's the big debate going around right now. And from what we've heard from Jerby Barbecue, Chud's Barbecue, Mad Scientist Barbecue, it's all about the Lawry's seasoned salt. You can still get away with it being salt and pepper. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to do, for our rub, we're going to do 2 parts of a 16 mesh coarse black pepper. We're going to do 1 part kosher salt, and we're going to do 1 part Lawry's seasoned salt. So let's make our rub. All right guys, so today we've got a Creekstone Farms brisket right here. We chose the 12 to 14 pound category, and I find that these are the best option, especially for a backyard cook, because they're still pretty big, but they cook up in about 12 hours in my experience. We're gonna show you our way of trimming briskets really quick, but the first thing is that we need to get this brisket out of the cryovac. All right, so here we have our Creekstone Farms prime grade 12 to 14 pound brisket. It's looking real nice out of the pack. We just need to get this all trimmed up, so let's do it. All right, y'all, so we're almost done trimming down our brisket, and there's one thing I want to talk about, and that is this little chunk of meat on the end of the brisket here. This chunk, you could see, almost is very circular on the top, and there's a fat seam. This does not belong to the point muscle. This is a different muscle of meat, so if you find that this is still hanging on there on your briskets, make sure we take it off, okay? So we're gonna take this guy off. Not too much surgery involved, but as you can see, see if I can find this fat seam. As I work it out, all right, that is a completely different muscle, and we don't need it. All right guys, at this point, our brisket's trimmed up, and y'all know the drill. If you've been around this channel, we hit our brisket with some Q glue, and then we're gonna hit it with our homemade rub of Lawry's coarse black pepper and kosher salt. Let's get after it. All right, y'all, brisket's trimmed, seasoned, ready to go on the smoker. Let's get it out there. All right, guys, big boy brisket going on. Let's get it. We're gonna lay this guy right down. Another trick for our brisket is we got a water pan in the smoker, help create a moist environment for the brisket so nothing dries out. We're gonna let this rock. Starting at 255 to 265 degrees, I like to start my briskets at a lower temperature and then ramp up towards the stall. So we're starting around there. We're gonna close it up, and we'll catch back with you guys in about 3 hours.
Brisket.
All right, it's been 4 hours on this brisket. Let's take a look inside. All right, so as you guys can see, it's starting to form a decent bark on the outside. We're not that close. It's starting to get dark in some areas. What we're gonna do is we're gonna spritz the outside edges and anything that looks dark. Spot this ridge. This ridge we really wanna keep moist during the cook. On the outside. All right, now that it's all spritzed up, we're gonna close it up and close down the lid. So as you saw, we hit the 4-hour mark, our bark is starting to form. However, we're losing a little bit of daylight, so this is the plan moving forward. We are going to let this brisket run on the smoker until the fat starts to render. You've seen it on our channel before. We want that really nice rendered fat. We want a really nice dark bark on the outside. Then, our next trick we're gonna put into play is our wrapping in beef tallow, and it's smoked beef tallow. We're gonna wrap this brisket in butcher paper lined with beef tallow, and then once it's probing tender, usually around 203, then we're gonna rest it for about 12 hours overnight. That is another trick that restaurants do. So the long rest is really going to let those juices spread back out throughout the brisket and make it a nice, tender, juicy bite at the end. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pack it in for the night, and we'll bring you guys back tomorrow morning when we slice into this brisket. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, y'all, so it's the next day. We just pulled this brisket out of the cooler. Let's recap some of our tricks when it comes to this brisket that we cooked. Our first trick was seasoning this with some coarse black pepper, kosher salt, and Lawry seasoned salt. We also used a binder of Q glue, which contains mustard and pickle juice and some other spices. That's another trick there. We then used a water pan in our cooker and smoked this for 12 hours. Another trick was resting it for 12 hours. So we rested this in the oven at 160 degrees overnight. And then another trick I did was I actually took this out of the original wrapping, re-wrapped it in new butcher paper with new beef tallow, and then let it sit for another 2 hours. So all of those tricks hopefully would lead us to having the best tasting brisket possible. So let's unwrap and see what we got. Good Lord, it doesn't even want to hang together. Definitely have a jiggle factor here. Nice and soft.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
All right, now that this brisket's out of the wrap, let's slice it up. Let's start with our end cut. End cut looking nice and juicy. Fat's looking nice and rendered. Let's give this a shot. That is tasting good. Super smoky. Bark is nice. Let's work through the flat. All right, let's take a look at one of these flat slices. This guy's already just falling apart. Super tender. No resistance whatsoever. Nice smoke ring on there. Let's try this out. Oh my gosh, that's good. That lean is so juicy. Nothing wrong with that. Little fatty on some of these slices, but no complaints here. And let's take a look at what we all came here for. That point meat. Hopefully we can see this on the camera. Man, that's looking good. It is just so wiggly and jiggly, and man, perfect cook. That seam fat nearly almost rendered out. Looking great on here. I'm gonna start. We know the point is good. I gotta test these burnt ends out. So I'm gonna go straight for the burnt end and let you guys know how it is. Right where all the smoke and fat accumulates. That's the bite right there. That's unbelievably good. Oh my God. That is insane. This guy is like barely hanging on. So tender, so juicy, so moist. Fat render is great on this point end. A little much on the lean end, but hey, it's what comes with trimming the brisket. Sometimes you don't want to, scalp any part of the brisket, but still no one's going to complain about this fat. Still about 1/4 of an inch left on there. But man, nothing wrong here. That's for sure. All right, y'all. And that's how we make our All the Tricks brisket. All the tricks we've ever heard of from Texas Pitmasters, all in one brisket. It comes out to be the best brisket I have ever made. And this is the only way I do briskets from now on. From the Lawry seasoned salt, coarse black pepper, the kosher salt, the oak and cherry wood smoke, the water pan, the long rest time, the beef tallow in the wrap, it just can't be beat. Shout out Jerby Barbecue, Chud's Barbecue, Mad Scientist Barbecue for really putting this method out there, showing us, what these Texas Pitmasters are really all about. And big thanks to, Aaron Franklin and everyone down in Texas that really has popularized these methods of cooking brisket. Without all these guys, the Franklin book, and all that good information that's out there, we wouldn't have the luxury of making great barbecue in New York like they have down in Texas. Thank you guys for tuning in to Harry the Horse Barbecue. If you like this brisket or like what we're doing, give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Every subscription does help us out. If you guys want us to cook something in particular, just hit us up in the comments below and let us know any ideas you have. I'd love to try them out. You can also follow us on Instagram at Harry the Horse Barbecue and show us what you guys are cooking up at home, or if you tried any of our recipes here, give us a tag on Instagram. With that being said, we got some brisket to go eat. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We're out.